only want to work on things that are hot. You're going to find yourself working on derivative ideas that end up being obvious, that end up having 5, 10, 100 competitors. It's great for that number 1, number 2, but guess what? Like number 3 through number 98 of all the people in that market, their startups are going to die. 9 out of 10 people might tell you you're stupid or crazy, but then 1 out of 10 people might be exactly the person who believes what you believe. Run out and try to find things that humans really desperately want and need, and then you'll figure out the rest. Welcome back to another episode of The Light Cone. As Peter Thiel says, competition is for losers. And as we look at all the AI startups we're working with, increasingly AI competition is back. So how do you actually deal with it? Well, I think if we go back to 0-1 again, what we would say is we're looking for how do you think from first principles? How do you actually deal with that competition by being contrarian and right? Harj, how do you think about it?
Yeah, something I've been thinking about recently is probably just over a year ago, we talked about how we were finding it easier than ever to fund companies that were looking for a startup idea and that they could pivot and find an idea. And it felt like the two causes of that were, one, there was just so much greenfield. Like AI was new. There were so many verticals to go after that hadn't been picked over yet. And the models themselves were changing. Like there was a step function increase in new models every few months that just caused the idea space to expand. So you could there was greenfield, and you could always count on a big change coming that would shake things up and create more ideas. And I think clearly we've seen the benefit of that. Like there are so many vertical AI agent companies that are doing tremendously well. But I kind of feel like the vibe is shifting a little bit now, where when I'm talking to founders doing office hours, trying to help them find ideas, it's not as easy as, hey, like, go figure out like a vertical where there's like a workflow to automate like insurance or banking, because there's multiple startups in each of these verticals now. And there actually hasn't been like a model that's shaken things up for a while now. And so I think it's becoming more important to think about what's your actual like unique insight that is going to enable you to find a good idea, and what's like the contrarian bet you're going to make so that you can actually stand out from all of the competition.
So how do you actually discover a secret, if you will? Something that you know and believe that nobody else believes yet.
Maybe we could do some case studies. Maybe like, why don't we talk about some of the companies we've seen that made a contrarian bet when they were coming up with their idea initially, and like maybe that will shake out some things people can learn from.
I think a helpful comparison to the previous technology shifts that we've had in the world, like if you look at the history of when we invented the internet, when we invented the smartphone, each time there's a roughly 2-year window where it was really easy. There's essentially like a modern day gold rush, right? Where like a whole new class of startup ideas like just opened up. Everybody rushed in, launched all the obvious ideas, and then roughly 2 years after that, the obvious ideas begin to have been picked over, and you have to like look deeper for a secret.
I mean, I think it's deeper than merely like, is it obvious or non-obvious? Non-obvious sounds like in your body might feel like neutral, but actually non-obvious feels dangerous and scary. Like I could devote my life to this, waste 10 years on this, and have no outcome. And, I guess the way that manifests, I think, is that there's just like ways of thinking that are out there that we pick up in media or in like sort of the conversations we have with the people around us that we don't examine. So, I was doing office hours recently with someone in the marketing space, and they came to me and said, you know what, like, nobody has ever made a company large enough doing like just what we were doing. The weird thing was, we have AI now. Like this is sort of the perfect moment where no one's doing it. That means there's no competition. In fact, everyone else who has been in the space, prior to the AI revolution has failed. So there are just so many dead bodies stacked up around this idea. How do you know that you're not the right person to go and actually blow this wide open, especially because there is still this giant new capability. You know, we have Age of Intelligence, the rocks can talk, they can think, and they can actually do the work of real human beings. You know, you might be one of the only people who has the guts to go into that space and actually apply this. And his numbers are going up.